And your story that you tell after that is, you're not going to say, oh, I was fired or whatever. You could say, well, it just didn't work out. They were going in a different direction.
Right, there's
whatever.
optics involved.
Yeah, your story is kind of what you make it. But I want to ask you what your thoughts are on the state of hiring today. There's a lot of craziness going on.
Yeah, it's all over the place right now. And I think that the problem that we have is on many fronts. You have a broken process, you have a flooded pipeline of really good folks, and a pipeline of, let's call it what it is, average or below average folks out there that lost their jobs. Not everybody can be an A player. Let's keep it real here for a moment here.
Yep.
And the
Solid
problem
B minus.
And the problem is there's a lot of folks out there who are, B players competing against A players for a limited amount of roles. And it's a highly competitive market with a limited amount of jobs. And then you throw in tech that is skewing it in both good ways and bad ways for candidates, right? It's giving an advantage, in my opinion, also a disadvantage, because a good recruiter could tell a BS AI generated resume, and I ping that against you. And the market right now is a complete disaster. I thought that we were waiting for the election to pass, politics to resolve. We're approaching the end of Q1 over here, and actually halfway through it, and I haven't
We're recording this 2 weeks into the term, and it's just been a mess.
I've not seen the positive indicators that I'd be hoping for.
So I kind of like, I feel like the weatherman in the perfect storm. That's just like, oh my God, this is all happening. I feel like there's like a white collar recession happening.
That's a good way to say it.
It's like those middle jobs are disappearing, and they're being replaced by either AI or they're being outsourced to people that don't need expensive U.S. benefits. And now I'm wondering is like, okay, 6 months from now, where are those people going to go? Like, what are they going to do? Like, I mean, I'm a marketing and comms guy, and now I'm kind of like,
me too.
But like, there's so many executives in the C-suite that just like, oh, we could just have ChatGPT be our.
But you still need someone to operate it and know what they're doing.
Yes.
Now, I think that what candidates and anyone who's out of work right now, I think you have to really, really take a good look in the mirror. Real true self-awareness assessment, Mike. And either say, I'm staying in this profession, but I need to upskill. Or maybe I need to pivot, or maybe I need to double down, right? And if you're thinking about a pivot, I did it. I'm sure you've done it in your career at points. It's a huge piece of humble pie, pivoting.
Yeah, I think.
Because it requires you to really say, take a deep breath. I know that I'm going to have to take a step back, a step down financially, maybe a step down in my career, to hopefully take 2 or 3 steps forward. Because if they're not hiring in my industry, or I see the technology is taking over potential roles that I'm going to have, you need to do something different.
Yeah, so I got laid off over the summer. I was working as kind of like an in-house analyst for a vendor.
Right.
And it became pretty clear to me, and it was even before I was laid off, that analyst relations, that type of feature is kind of moving away from the organizations that are out there right now. They don't want to pay somebody to do that. They want someone to do that as part of something. But I said, I could sit around, but I love this industry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create some content. So I'm going to stay relevant by creating the Wrap, my newsletter. Right. I'm going to do my first job podcast because I find people are interesting. And, you do have to pivot a little bit. But I think we're brought up to constantly be striving to move ahead onto that ladder. But at some point, you got to look and say, okay, what's really going to make you happy and content?
It's a tough balance because you have mouths to feed. Most of us have mouths to feed. And you get to a point where, like, listen, of course you want to be happy in your career. So I'm not happy, I'm not going to be enjoying it. And then what the hell's the point of just living and doing? But at the end of the day, sometimes you got to do. So you have to look for the opportunity to pivot. And I have friends that were like in finance that got laid off and moved into something tangent to that, right? Like it moved into like funding, right?